In the early 19th century, the Navajo people, who called themselves the Dene, claimed the Uinta Basin of northern Utah as land of their own. Shortly after, the Ute tribe attacked the Dene, took the land, and sold the Dene people as slaves to the Spanish. In retaliation, the Dene placed a curse on the land in the form of a skinwalker, and from that point on, the native people deemed the Uinta Basin unholy ground. In the Navajo culture, healers are known as medicine men and women who learn about good and evil magic. However, some of these healers can become corrupt and choose to become witches. This includes the act of becoming a skinwalker. Legends say that a medicine man or woman can become a skinwalker after committing a terrible act, such as killing a relative, gaining supernatural powers. Skinwalkers can shapeshift, but are usually seen in the form of a wolf or a coyote. In 1994, a rancher we'll call Tom Gorman and his family bought the 480-acre land on top of the Uinta Basin, which had been vacant for 7 to 8 years. Due to the vast amount of paranormal activity on the land, this property would later be known as Skinwalker Ranch. When the Gorman family moved in, they spotted a large wolf in the pasture. The wolf oddly made its way to the family but did not harm them. Instead, acted towards the Gormans like it was a family pet. After minutes, the wolf made its way over to the cattle on the farm, grabbing a small calf by the nose and attempting to pull it through the fence bars. Tom Gorman and his father attempted to beat the wolf with sticks, but it wouldn't let go. Gorman grabbed a .357 Magnum and shot the wolf at point-blank range. Surprisingly, this had no effect on the wolf. The wolf was shot 3 more times with the large handgun. Finally letting go of the calf, but just standing there, looking at the family as if nothing happened. There was no distress, no blood. Gorman then grabbed his hunting rifle, a gun powerful enough to take down an elk, and shot it 2 more times as the wolf was trotting away. Tom and his father tracked the wolf's footprints for about a mile, but they suddenly ended, like it just vanished into thin air. Over the next 2 years, the Gormans witnessed a plethora of paranormal activity, such as translucent beings, like in the movie The Predator, multicolored birds not native to the area, 9-foot-tall beasts that resembled the Bigfoot, crop circles, strange lights, UFOs, and more. In the spring of 1995, the Gormans began to see strange things in the sky. Tom and his nephew saw what looked like to be lights from a parked car on their property. As they approached the vehicle, the lights started moving away from them. Then suddenly, the craft rose up above the treetops and departed into the night sky. Between 1995 and 1996, the Gormans would constantly see orange spheres glowing above their homestead, with smaller spheres flying out from the larger ones. Some believe this to be something coming out of a portal from another dimension. Blue orbs also became a common sighting around the ranch. In May of 1996, Gorman sent his 3 dogs after one of the blue orbs, only to hear a loud yelp and find 3 round spots of dried and brittle vegetation where his dogs disappeared, as if something obliterated them. Things got even weirder when the Gormans' expensive Black Angus cattle were constantly getting killed and mutilated. After losing nearly 20% of their herd, the Gormans decided it was time to move on and sell the ranch. The ranch was then sold to Bigelow Aerospace founder Robert Bigelow, specifically to study UFO sightings, cattle mutilation, and other paranormal research. On November 12, 1966, 5 men were digging a grave at a cemetery near Clendenin, West Virginia. The men reported what they said looked like a brown human being, which flew from some nearby trees and glided over their heads. Many believe this to be the first sighting of the Mothman. 3 days later, on November 15th, in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, 2 couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Maletti, were driving near McClintock Wildlife Reserve when they saw what they thought were headlights in the distance. As the couples drove closer to the lights, they realized it wasn't a vehicle, but a dark creature standing 7 feet tall with glowing red eyes and 10-foot wings. As they sped off in their car, the couples reported that the creature followed them, but later flew off into the night sky. As they were being followed, the young couples passed what the locals dubbed the TNT area, a place used to manufacture and store ammunition during World War II and where many more Mothman sightings took place. On the next day, a woman named Marcella Bennett, her brother, and his wife were taking Marcella's 2-year-old daughter to visit relatives near the TNT area of Point Pleasant. When they arrived around 9 p.m., they discovered Marcella's sister and her husband had left to church, leaving their 3 children at home. After speaking with the children for a few minutes, they headed back to the car. As Marcella was walking to the car with her daughter, her brother noticed some lights in the sky and yelled at his sister, "No, stop! You've got to look at this! This isn't a plane!" Marcella ignored him and started unlocking the car. Out of the corner of her eye, she then saw a creature. She pulled her eyes up and saw a giant man bird over 6 feet tall with its head sunken into its shoulders. She froze, then ran towards her brother.
Help! 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 Help!
Tripping and falling on top of her daughter, but recovering and making it into the house. Police were notified, but the creature was nowhere to be found when they arrived. Over the next year, there would be dozens of people reporting sightings of the Mothman. Wildlife biologist Dr. Robert L. Smith speculated that the Mothman could be a sandhill crane, a bird which is almost as tall as a man and has a 7-foot wingspan with reddish coloring around its eyes. Over a year after the first sighting, on December 15, 1967, at 5:05 p.m., numerous Christmas shoppers were driving across the Silver Bridge, a bridge which connects Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio. Suddenly, the bridge began to shake, followed by the moaning of metal and a loud screech. The bridge then collapsed. Dropping cars into the Ohio River, killing 46 people and injuring 9 more. The Department of Transportation concluded that the bridge collapsed because of a steel pin eye bar that was improperly manufactured. Prior to the event, a number of citizens reported having nightmares of people drowning in the river with Christmas presents floating everywhere. After the collapse, a couple Mothman sightings were said to have occurred near the bridge, with some believing the Mothman was some sort of warning or premonition leading up to the Silver Bridge incident, as sightings of the creature seemed to have come to a halt right after, and it was never seen again. Hey everyone, Doorstop here. I hope you enjoyed these 2 true horror stories. I will be uploading regularly, so if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below with some feedback and email me any horror stories you would like me to consider for a video. You can also join the conversation on my Twitter and Instagram. The links are down below. I'll be announcing new video releases and more on those social platforms. Thanks again for watching, and I will scare you all in the next one.